I think we're live. We're live? I think so. All right. Let's talk about Mandalorian. So, Yvonne cannot be here today. Sad. All right, I'm just gonna pull up voice memos and start recording this. This is a good episode. I really enjoy this episode. Chat's enabled if anyone wants to talk about the episode. I love to hear some feedback about it. So we're gonna start recording now. Welcome to the Mandalorian podcast, and we're here. Season 2 is live. It's just me today. It's just Drew. Yvonne couldn't make it. He had a last-minute business trip to go on. He had to be a translator for his dad in Michigan today for a job interview. His dad doesn't speak English, and I did not know that he'd be gone. But don't worry, Yvonne will still be back later on in this season. So this is just really exciting. This is so exciting. We got some new Star Wars to talk about, finally. So we're going to say spoiler-free at first, as usual, and then down just some news for this week. Just going to talk about some news first, and then we're going to get into talking about the episode. So, some news. Biggest news this week is The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, Chapter 9, Marshal, is now streaming on Disney+. That's crazy. We got more Mando to talk about. That's so fun. Also, Mandalorian news just today. Potential spoilers. A deleted post from the Disney Plus Hotstar Instagram account. It's an official account, blue check mark and everything. Has confirmed Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka Tano this season. Yay! We're gonna get more. We're gonna see Ahsoka. We got some pretty big stuff this episode. I'm not gonna go into it just yet, but we're gonna get there. So yeah, that is so exciting. That we're gonna get Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka. We also had first week Mando Monday. We're gonna break down. I'm just gonna talk about some of those new action figure reveals. You guys can see I got. I've just started getting into collecting the 6-inch Black Series figures because I was like strictly 3 3/4 inch for a long time, and then I'm like, well, there aren't any anymore, so we're just gonna, I'm just gonna go all in now and do these 6-inch series figures. There's just so much more variety right there at that. So if I can I'm on StarWars.com right now. Series StarWars.com right now. Just trying to get there. If anyone wants to put stuff in the chat, like what would you think of the season and just the season premiere, that'd be great. I'll get to that when I will get to that when we start talking about the episode, because I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know about you guys. There was a bit of fan service stuff. I just thought it was a great premiere. I thought we got some great setup for the season. As that is loading. Anyway, well, nothing too. All right, this isn't really working right now. This loading thing. It's not really working right now, but we just got some cool new Star Wars toys announced that are available for pre-order. So that's cool. Nothing big really. Kind of a sleeper thing. We got some gaming news to talk about. 3 pieces of gaming news. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the entire reason for that game being made, for that movie. Like literally, like, let's be honest, that's the reason why the Phantom Menace was made. Like, they spent so much time talking about the pod racing stuff. It's so clearly just a movie to sell a video game. So, but yeah, so that game, Episode 1 Racer, is now on Xbox One. I don't know where else it is. I know it's now on Xbox One. I have an Xbox One, so I'm excited about this. It's now available for like $15, which is pretty standard for like these legacy Star Wars games. So I haven't gotten it yet. I'm still working on Squadrons. So, but when I do finish that, when I finish Squadrons, we're gonna be doing we're gonna head into working on some of these other older games from Legends. Here's some news that's really exciting for me. So apparently Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is coming May 31st, 2021. I think I've talked about this before in the podcast. Like, it was the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga game and the Clone Wars animated series that really just made me a fan of Star Wars. You know, like the movies. I was kind of, to be honest, I was pretty bored by the movies. I was like 6 years old, and I'm like, I want some animated stuff. And then I found out Clone Wars was the thing, and I immediately loved it. That's what got me in this universe. And then Legos also. Like, it's those two things that just mean the most to me with Star Wars. And of course, now that I'm older and everything, I do enjoy the films, you know, obviously the movies, and now the Mandalorian. It's the main part of Star Wars. So, of course, I love those a lot, but it's just like what I grew up with was the Clone Wars and Lego Star Wars. So that's why I love that the most, I think. So another piece of potential news, Force Unleashed 3. Hang on, I'm just finding the news story right now. Let's see if we can find this thing. So it's rumored to be in development. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's the Legends series. Is Legends coming back? Are we getting more Legends stories? Like, that would be insane if we got more Legends stories. Or if they want to bring the Force Unleashed into canon. Again, I've not played the Force Unleashed, so I don't know if it would be a reboot. But, you know, that would just be, I would be way more interested in playing the Force Unleashed games if, you know, we were getting a new one, if it was going to be canon and all that. So I'm just pretty excited about that. Pretty excited. So, last piece of news, really, we've stayed very non-political, but go vote. This is the last possible chance for you to vote. I wanted to hold this until like the last show before the election. The election's in 4 days. Go vote. Seriously, go vote. Either at a Dropbox or vote in person, but go vote. Please do that. All right, that's out of the way now. So now let's get into some Mando talk. So this episode, Season 2, Episode 1, Chapter 9, The Marshal. This episode was released October 30th, 2020, for those of you listening in the distant future. This morning, I was going to stay up, and then I'm too tired. I'm just going to watch it as soon as I wake up in the morning and watch it like 6:30 this morning. That was awesome. This episode ran for 54 minutes, but there's 5 minutes of credits with the show, and there was 2 minutes of intro. So that's that was some 48 minutes or so this episode was. So the synopsis given by Disney Plus for the episode: the Mandalorian is drawn to the Outer Rim in search of others of his kind. I've actually got a ton of notes about this season premiere. Just basic thoughts first. I really loved the season premiere. I thought it was a great way to just get back to the characters, all of this. I've seen the episode twice, so just full spoilers going forward for the episode. I'm gonna get into some spoilers in. So if you have not seen the season 2 premiere of Mandalorian, go get Disney Plus and watch The Mandalorian. And I don't if you're listening to this podcast, you have not seen The Mandalorian, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. If it's not available in your country, that's different. But if it is available and you're a Star Wars fan, Mandalorian, that is Star Wars now. So go watch The Mandalorian. So anyway, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Boba Fett is alive. And we knew Boba Fett was alive. No, he's definitely alive. Kind kind of got that little tease in the Aftermath books, which did come in because we got Cobb Vanth in this episode. Got to see Cobb Vanth again. And I've not read the Aftermath books. I was going to just, like, you know what? I need something new for the next, like, six hours until the show premieres. So I got the first book on Audible, and I did not start reading it. I did not start listening to the first book. By the way, just if you have Audible, like, the audiobooks for Star Wars narrated by Mark Thompson, he does such a good job. He is insane. Like, he is just brings so much life to, like, these books. Like, it's like listening to a movie. I'm not even messing with you guys. Like, it is like listening to a movie. He is so good. Like, honestly, like, if I'm like looking through Audible and I'm trying to find a new Star Wars book to read, like, I will look at who's reading it. If it's read by Mark Thompson, I will most likely read it. Like, I will listen to it because he just does such a good job at reading the Star Wars books. So go listen. Just I think my favorite Star Wars book is Last Shot. Again, I'm just making my way through Star Wars books. I think I've read like 8 or 9. But just of what I've read so far, I mean, Thrawn is awesome. Like, Thrawn is so good. But Last Shot is fun. Last Shot's a really fun book. That's a tie-in with Solo, a Star Wars story. It tells 3 separate stories, and I actually did a review on it for the podcast, like back in like early April, I think, late March. So if just go back to that, and then in the feed you can go and find them. So yeah, let's get back to talking about Mandalorian. So this episode opens with Din Djarin and Baby Yoda on some outer rim planet. I was thinking that, like, that shot of them, like, walking up was going to be the first shot of the season, and I was right. So yeah, like, that just, like, from what we'd seen in the trailers, that just seemed like something that would be, like, season premiere level, like, just intro from what we've seen from these, like, high budget movies and shows from Star Wars and Marvel. I just thought that, like, that shot looked like this is like an opener for either a season or an episode, and it ended up being the opener for the season. So we get inside. So I watched episode twice, and I kind of took notes the second time with time code. So this is not a commentary for the episode. It's not a commentary whatsoever. I just thought that, this is gonna be interesting. It's just little things I want to talk about. So Baby Yoda is looking at, like, all this artwork on the wall, and you can get there in the episode, and, like, the 3-minute 21-second mark, you can see, like, Maz Kanata drawn on the wall, and you can just see Maz. You can see Maz. I think that's definitely Maz. So I really liked that reference. Like, this episode has had so many references, and I love it when the shows have references to the movies. I think that's really fun. That's, I love the continuity of it. So get inside the some, like, underworld, like, WWE fighting thing, and I'm kind of surprised that Cara Dune wasn't there, because we saw her in chapter 7 last season. She was on the, what was it? She was, like, on the forest planet. I forget what it's called. If someone's in the chat that knows what that planet is called, please tell me. And, like, she was fighting, and we do know that the actress Gina Carano is a WWE fighter. So, but he talks about, like, he always, like, the guy that Mando's meeting, like, he really loves the Beskar. So I'm thinking, oh my God, like, are we gonna get to see this season? Like, we know that from Jon Favreau that the scope of the season is much bigger, and I mean, with the episode length too, like, this is the longest episode we've ever gotten. Like, this is like a regular, like, Netflix sized episode, like The Umbrella Academy or Stranger Things. I really love that. I really like this, and I really like this longer episode format. Is something we get a lot of this season. Like, but this season, are we gonna get to see a kind of a war between, like, I mean, I wrote my notes, Mando hunters, like, and what I mean by that is, like, not Mandalorians who are bounty hunters, but people who like make a living off of killing Mandalorians, basically. Kind of like how in the real world we got like ivory and elephants, like stuff like that. Like people who go and kill elephants. It's terrible what they do, but they sell like the materials from it, and then they make a ton of money. It's terrible, but it happens in the real world, and that's something that would just be so interesting to see in the Star Wars universe. So this guy just goes and Din Djarin just slaughters all his guys' personal soldiers. Like that was, I'm like, yeah, we got like that. Mando just hold his own like in the first scene of both seasons. Both seasons we get that, and I really liked seeing that. Just both times. I just think that's like I'd really love like the first scene of every season moving forward. We just get like Din Djarin just like taking out like some guys in a bar who are fighting him. We got that in chapter 1, and now we get in chapter 9. So the Cyclops dude says there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine. Why does everyone want to go back to Tatooine? Just to quote Finn, just a little play on Finn's line from The Force Awakens of why does everyone want to go back to Jakku? It's just Tatooine. That's where you go. If it's live action Star Wars, you gotta either go to Tatooine or reference Tatooine. I actually felt right here they did it very well, though I don't quite understand what Din Djarin meant when he said, I've spent a lot of time on Tatooine. Dude, you were there for like 2 days. I don't know if there's other stuff we don't know about. If he went there like in between like the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian or what. But as far as we know, he only spent like a day or two on Tatooine back in season 1. So we get to Tatooine, and we get to see Pelimoto again. I really thought that we were gonna see her in the Tatooine episode, and we did. And we got our first actual reference to the Force in this show. Like the first actual time when someone says the words the Force. Now, I don't know if that's something like in Harry Potter where all the characters always go like Merlin's beard. Like I wonder if now in the timeline people are just like think of the Force. I don't know. This is a very, very unexplored territory in Star Wars storytelling. Now that the sequel trilogy is over, I really hope we get to see a lot more of just like exploration throughout the time between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. We've really just spent like the majority of that time has just been like the 5 years leading up to The Force Awakens throughout Bloodline book, the Phasm book, and the Resistance animated series. Like I want to spend everything's like a year or two post Return of Jedi, or like 5 years before 5 years before The Force Awakens, and we know this season is supposed to explore kind of the origins of the First Order. I'd love to see that. I think that could be so cool. Pit droids are useless. Like Din Djarin's finally like the droids can work on the ship. Fine, they can finally work on the ship. Something that didn't get to happen last season. Immediately they just gotta like break an engine or something, and it's like, wow, these guys really are useless. We also got to see R5 from A New Hope. Apparently we saw him last season. I don't know. I'm gonna go back and rewatch The Gunslinger right after this podcast. Because I don't recall seeing R5 last season, but that I was just so shocked, like when just being like, oh, that's the guy from the movie. That's the guy. And I loved seeing that. So yeah, they kind of changed the name. I'll get to that in a minute, but Ludwig Göransson's like soundtrack for this show is fantastic. It is so good. last I checked, I don't think that they've released, because last season, for those of you who are following it, they released like one, like each episode got its own soundtrack release, like the day of release, and that's another thing I was looking forward to. Like, yeah, the episode, but also just like Ludwig Göransson's just outstanding score. Like, for those of you who don't know him, he did the music for the first season. He did the music for Black Panther. Like, he really was able to like make a non-traditional Star Wars soundtrack. So I want to check right now. I think I checked an hour or two ago to see if the score was out, and I just typed in like the Mandalorian Chapter 9 into Spotify. I don't get anything, so I don't know. I will update you guys. Maybe they'll just do like a full soundtrack release for the full season when this is over. Yep, we do not yet have an actual soundtrack release for the season. Whatever. But hopefully we get that pretty soon. Pretty soon. I'm trying to figure if we get like a day off or something. I don't really care. I have a feeling it's probably something to do with spoilers. Like maybe at the end of the track, maybe at the end of the album, there's like just like a track that's called like Boba Fett or something. I don't know. But yeah. So we get to the village called Moss. It's not Moss Petty. Is it Moss Petty? I don't know. I think it's Moss Petty. So, and we see just the armor of Boba Fett on Cobb Vanth. Now, for those of you who don't know Cobb Vanth is from the Aftermath trilogy books by Chuck Wendig. I have not read those books. I'm going to, though. I'm definitely going to read those. And he basically just finds the armor of Boba Fett outside the Sarlacc pit, which how I understood it. Apparently, even in the books, it's like he got it from the Jawas, and I was really surprised. I'm like, oh my god, are they like changing canon? Is this like the first like actual canon change? Of course, there were some references in The Rise of Skywalker that didn't really fit with what we know from the Poe Dameron comics and other things, but is this the first actual like canon? I'm trying to think of the word. Retcon? Like is this the first actual retcon of canon? It's not. They changed the name of the town. In the Aftermath books, it was Freetown, and now it's called, I think it's Moss Petty. I'm so mad at myself that I don't remember what the town is called in the episode. So, whatever. I wrote in my notes, helmet off. This is not the way. It's not. You got to keep your helmet on. Again, I do think this is a newer rule that's been implemented. I'm very interested because like Sabine is like an actual Mandalorian, and if we see her this season, like, are we going to see her? I guess like not like, has she been kind of kicked out of the Mandalorian culture because she doesn't wear her helmet? I think that'd be just so interesting to see that. And she doesn't want to have to wear a helmet all the time, so she just doesn't, and she gets kicked out of the Mandalorian just for that. The shot of Cobb Vanth is like fingering the blaster on his hip. I'm like, this is a total Western episode. I was reminded so heavily of other Westerns just by this episode alone. I love that. Baby Yoda in the pod after the Crate Dragon attack was... I love that so much. I love that so much of him just like poking his head out of the pot. That was so funny. This episode didn't really give Baby Yoda a whole lot to do. I honestly feel, and I hate to say this, I was running a lot of the porgs from The Last Jedi by Baby Yoda in this episode. Like season 1, I really love this about season 1. Season 1, he wasn't just there to sell toys. I mean, we did not know anything about Baby Yoda until the season actually premiered. So, Baby Yoda was an actual part of the story, unlike the Porgs, or honestly also the Ewoks. And Baby Yoda just only did cute things this episode. Like last season, like you remember in like the last episode, Redemption, Chapter 8, he was able to like push back all of the fire from that flame trooper. And like Baby Yoda can actually do things. And this episode, he was just there to be cute, really, I feel. So so Cobb Vanth and Din Djarin go off to face the Krayt Dragon, go and kill it, and he has like a pod racing engine speeder. And as soon as I thought, oh my god, is that Anakin Skywalker's? Like, is this Anakin's pod racing engine? I don't think it is. I have to go back. It looked different. It looked different. That'd be a great Easter egg. I just don't see how they would do that. I just do not see how they would be able to do that. So Cobb Vanth gives us more of his backstory. You get to see just like a GIF. It's called a GIF. It's not a GIF. If you say GIF, you are incorrect. Of like Death Star 2 just blowing up, and like that just proves like for all the people like this could be years before the Phantom Menace because they think it's actually Baby Yoda. Like we know now, like no, this is after Return of the Jedi, and I'm really interested to see like the response from like the casual fans, like who honestly thought that it was really Baby Yoda. But yeah, I really like seeing that. I thought it was really interesting. Like, oh my god, of course the Empire's gone. Like, of course, like local warlords would just immediately move in to take over. We got a bit of that last season with the stories that Cara Dune was telling. They would go and take out the local warlords and all that. So, yeah. Next, Din Djarin uses Obi-Wan's Krayt Dragon call. Well, how does he know how to do that? How does he know how to do that? So, I don't know. I wonder if that's just like a regular thing. I was also a bit confused about like how Din Djarin was like used. Of course, like he could probably speak the language of the Sand people, but he wasn't doing it in season 1. He was just like using like the sign language in season 1. So he was just like even like earlier in this episode, he was just using hand signals, and I think we're supposed to assume that like when Cobb Vanth and the Sand people are just like arguing, like that is supposed to be with what is it? Just like it's Din Djarin like saying like using the grunts and stuff. Like he goes, oh. I don't speak Sand people. But yeah, I just wonder why he wasn't doing that before. That's just probably me just rooting into it too much. The pebbles in the Krayt Dragon skeleton, it's absolutely what I was talking about. It's definitely to scale. So then, Mando volunteers the whole village, and is they go over like a tree, I guess, like you guys aren't gonna hurt each other until someone breaks the peace. And I'm like, oh my god, what if we get like just like a one-shot series, just to show like there's like a 10-episode season about Star Wars. Each episode tells a different adventure in a different part of the timeline. And what if we get an episode or something, or like there are reports now that we're going to be getting like some Disney Plus Star Wars original films, like movies, Star Wars movies made for Disney Plus. And what if we get like a Cobb Vanth like hour-and-a-half long movie? I think that's entirely possible. We could see just someone like breaking the peace. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. Does anyone else want that? I want that. Vanth kind of trusts them, so then he drinks like the goop that he wasn't going to drink earlier in the episode. The scene with just the villagers and the sand people like working on they were getting the bombs ready to take out the crate dragon. And like I was reminded a ton of Chapter 4 Sanctuary from last season, with that whole montage of like Din Djarin and Cara Dune just training all the villagers, and I really like that. I don't know. I don't think we need to see it again, especially just so soon. Like I was, like for people just in the future, like after the whole show is out, just binging all of it in a week. Like this is gonna me feel like pretty fast. Like that'll be like just 5-episode difference. We got a beautiful IMAX shot of just like the sand people running, and then like the screen, it was in widescreen like this, just expands to full screen. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like me, like I love like the stuff about how movies and shows are filmed. So I thought that was awesome. I thought that was amazing how they were able to do that. I'm like, this is just so cinematic. Like the budget on this show is so crazy. This, like, I mean, also I think they have a higher budget than last season, as you know, there's no movie this year for Star Wars, and like this is the only like live action Star Wars we're getting in 2020. So I do think that Disney gave Lucasfilm a higher budget for the season, especially because it is also the season premiere. The Crate Dragon gave acidic vomit. I don't know what that was. All I could think of was there's a guy in Deadpool 2, and he just I don't remember what was his name. I don't remember, but there's a guy, and he's like I spit acidic vomit. So he gets on the team, and then well, spoilers for Deadpool 2's been out for 2.5 years at this point. He just like dies, and he kind of throws up also, and then just like he just actually spits acidic vomit. That's just what I was ran into. I don't know about anyone else, but I was ran into that. And then Djarin and Vanth kind of use their jetpacks. Now just whenever someone in Star Wars flies with a jetpack, I just have to go, they fly now, even though we know they fly. We've seen them fly since Clone Wars. And then there's I think the one scene I just hated in this episode, and it really brings episode down for me. Like if I'm gonna rank all nine episodes of the show, like this brings it down like 2 or 3, I think. Din Djarin would never say, just like he's about to like make the sacrifice play, and then he turns to Vanth and he goes, "You watch the child," and then he just honestly almost killed himself by like jumping into the Crate Dragon's mouth with like all the bombs and stuff. I honestly just don't think he would do that. Like, this isn't Luke Skywalker. This is a Mandalorian bounty hunter. He's not a selfless person. Yeah, he'll do the right thing when it works in his interest, but I mean, we saw that last season. You got the scene with in episode 4 Sanctuary, when those 2 guys came out and they were like, "We need you," and then Mando says no until they say that they have shelter. Like, yeah, he'll do the right thing when, you know, their intentions align, but other than that, really, I just don't see him doing this. Honestly. So they defeat the Crate Dragon, and we get the twin sons. I don't think we actually saw twin sons last season in Chapter 5. I don't think we saw those. And then Boba Fett. Where? We see Boba Fett in this episode. And I really love seeing Boba Fett in this episode. I guess the reports are true, and if the Timothy Olyphant thing are true, and the more or something are true, I guess we're seeing Ahsoka in episode 5 of the season, chapter 13, the episode on November 27th. But yeah. Oh my god, I'm so glad that like this show is back and that we have like new Star Wars to look forward to each week. So I don't think I have anything else to say, guys, about this episode. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you are new, and a lot of you probably will be because Mandalorian is back and you're looking for a Mandalorian podcast. So please leave a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps out the podcast whenever you leave them. If you are not in the United States, I will not see your review. So please either DM it to me on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is @KidCommentariesNetwork. And our or email it to us. Our email is mandalorianpodcast@gmail.com. It's mandalorianpodcast@gmail.com, and send in your feedback for the Mandalorian, because that's current, and I'd love to read some listener feedback on the show. The restream is just not working, so we're just gonna try and work with the YouTube stuff. So I'll say if like we're gonna do a Twitch thing, but we'll at least be doing the YouTube stream. So you will at least get the YouTube. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast and watching the video. See, one person stuck through like the whole thing, so thank you. Yeah, so we'll be back in the next week with chapter 10, and keep listening to this podcast. This is the way.